Yeah, I think the biggest thing is when you look, we're a young team, and we got to understand the importance of preparation throughout the week and consistent performance. To beat a team like that on the road, you've got to make sure you play at a high level, and that really starts on Monday. So, no matter what happens on Saturday, you got to be ready to go for the next one. So as a young team, we got to understand that each week's going to be a battle. It's a grind. We got to make sure that we understand we're going to beat people with our work ethic, our energy, and our execution, and doing those things. And if we do that, we'll be fine. So, as we move forward, we'll learn from that and play the next one.
Do you feel like, I've heard several guys now talk about practice wasn't what it needed to be last week leading into the game and things. Was there some kind of hangover after LSU a little bit?
No, I just think that, when you win a big game, you got to understand that it's on to the next one, that kind of thing. I don't think it's anything more than that. So I'm really on to the next one right now, to be honest with you. So looking forward to, this battle. And just understanding that, each week's a dogfight. Each week's, going to be tough. And, particularly when you play on the road, you got to be able to execute and do those things. And when you self-inflict wounds and give, kind of uncontested touchdowns and things like that, you're not going to be able to, be where you need to be in the fourth quarter. And we weren't. So, like I said, we're a young team. We'll learn from it and move on.
How Georgia had some success over the middle with their passes. What do you attribute that to?
Not being in the middle field.
How similar or different do you see from Auburn compared to Georgia's offense?
No, they're different. They're totally different. I mean, they got a new coordinator at Auburn, but there's still similar things that they're doing. They're a downhill running team, that kind of thing, vertical passing game. Got tempo, that kind of stuff. So it's a different offense.
What kind of challenge does Auburn present with a big power back and then also a little scat back type?
They got a lot of talent. I mean, when you look at them, they're physical up front. They move you at the point of attack. 36 is a guy that can really move the pile. He's an excellent back, and he's got a bright future ahead of him. Then they got skill guys, behind him that they can play. They can play multiple guys. When you look at their tailbacks, I mean, they've played a lot of guys there, so they're very loaded at tailback, and they have guys that do different things, meaning downhill guys that can bounce out, got really good speed. And then when you look at their receivers, they got guys that are quick, that can play in space, and then they got guys that have size, that give you a vertical threat and stretch down the field. So they're obviously a challenge. And then they got a quarterback that's just came in as a grad transfer that's really talented. Looks like he's gotten more comfortable the more he's played over the last couple of weeks. So they're a talented team that we understand we're going to have to play well and execute to be in the game.
In your experience, are tackles for loss created by scheme or by player?
Both. I mean, you can't sit there and say play heavy on a guy all day and expect a guy to get a TFL. So you got to have some movements and things like that. So it's a combination of everything, a little bit of both. And I think it's important that you do find ways to get people behind the sticks, because it kind of dictates what you do on second down, which can lead to third down. So it's a little bit of both. And it can be as simple as, finishing the play. It can be as simple as your footwork. I mean, there's a lot of things that go into it, but I would say it's both on that, and you got to work at that.
Trey, it seems like almost all of his tackles are at or behind the line. What is it about his game that makes that?
Yeah, Trey's an explosive guy. He's worked hard to be a really good player. He's conscientious, and he's been able to give us some TFLs. That shows his ability to knock back guys. Up front, that's why I think it's important that you're more of an attacking team than, say, a catch-react team, because that allows you, one, to create the TFLs, but also you can still press the blocks and be sound inside and do those things, but if they do throw the ball, you're already into rushing the passer and pushing the pocket and all that. And Trey's done a good job of working to be a complete player, and he's a young player, and he's only going to get better, so we're looking forward to that.
Has he had a bigger role than people might realize with Corey out the last couple of weeks?
Oh, yeah. I think that, with Corey out, he has taken a bigger role. And, my philosophy on that is injury always creates depth. And what I'm saying is sometimes you may be afraid to play a guy because you have a guy like Corey, or you have an older guy. But then all of a sudden a guy like Trey steps in, does a really good job, and he's being productive. Now all of a sudden the guy comes back, now you got more depth than you had before. So I've always been a believer that injury can create depth on your team. So when it happens early in the season like that, it can help you propel a little bit more depth and rotation, in the latter part of the season. So he's done a good job with it.
After playing so well early in the season, Jeffrey Simmons kind of came more down to earth the last game. Was that just a good blocking scheme by Georgia?
No, I mean, that's one game. I mean, Jeffrey's a good player. He's prideful in his work, and I fully expect him to play good moving forward.
Were they doing anything differently, or
No, nothing.
how has Leo progressed in coverage?
Leo's working at it. I mean, we still got to continue to work on that kind of stuff. He's very conscious of it. He's a guy that it's kind of new to him for the way we ask him to play that. And he makes progress at it. It's just about being consistent in your performance and doing those things. And, when you go back to the LSU game, he made a really good play in coverage in the 2-minute there at the end when he batted the ball. So he's made progress and made strides at it. That's probably the one area that he's had to work the most. And because he's such a prideful guy and wants to do well, he's worked really hard at it. And he's made some plays like the LSU game.